I'll try to go through everything in this video from modeling, rigging, tracking, and recording. What software is needed to make a VTuber? First, for art program, it can be any application as long as it can export as Photoshop file. Program like Photoshop, Clip Studio Paint, or Procreate will work just fine. Second, Live 2D Cubism to rig the model for the art program. You can download the software at www.live2d.com English. It costs around 14,000 yen or 96 USD per year, or 2,000 yen or 14 USD per month by the time of recording. I downloaded the 42-day free trial version and managed to finish rigging my model before the trial ends. So unless you're gonna be using this application for a long time, I suggest you try out the 42-day trial first. Third, Vtube Studio. After you finish rigging in Live 2D, you can import the file to Vtube Studio to track your facial expression with your model. It is free on stream, but costs around 6.7 USD to remove the watermark using Webcam. Otherwise, you can use an iPhone and install the app to link to your iPhone camera. The iPhone version would cost 40 USD to upgrade to Pro. If you don't upgrade on the iPhone, the connection between iPhone and PC will be lost every 10 minutes or so. The benefit of using an iPhone instead of a webcam is that it can track the facial motion more accurately than a webcam does. Fourth, OBS is a software for live streaming or recording videos. I highly recommend this software because it is free and what most people use. It can record models from Vtube Studio and recognize a transparent background. Overall, this is what you need and how much it costs to make and use a Vtube model. Mainly, it does cost you money if you want to go professional, but if you want to just test it out, you can try using all the trial version. Now, I'll go over what asset you need and how to use the software. If you don't want to learn what to draw and skip to the rigging tutorial, I drew this model for free that you can use. I tried to make this model as simple and easy to rig as possible so that we can test it out together. Link is in the description. You can use this model for anything after it as well. Art program. First thing that we have to decide is what canvas size will it be. On the screen is how many pixels for a small avatar, half body, full body, super detail, and ultra detail is. The file that I gave for the test is 2048 x 2048 pixel wide. It is enough if you're just using it to stream on the corner, since you don't need a leg for that. You just need your upper half. Meanwhile, this full body model that I've been using to stream is 4096 pixel x 8192 pixel. You can see how far you can zoom in and out and how detailed it is. Now it's time to start drawing. Start off with sketching symmetrically. You can make a model be distorted, but it would be harder to rig. When we start drawing in detail, we need to make sure that we separate the body parts in different layers. Here are the different parts. Different hair bangs, left and right separated. Face features like the blush, nose, eyebrows, eyelashes, upper eye skin that we're gonna be using to cover the eye when we move later on, lower eye skin as well, eye shine, the pupil, the eyeball, upper lip, upper mouth skin to cover what's underneath it, lower lip, lower mouth skin, the mouth inside, face line, face skin, and ear. And then we got the clothes, the neckline, neck skin, the neck shadow, body, clothes behind the body, hair behind the body. Make sure to name the layers so it doesn't get confusing later on. Label the left and right side of the body part as L underscore and R underscore, or you can just type left and right. The line art and the color should be combined when you finish drawing. Like the arms should just be the arm layer, the hair should just be the hair, except for the lip line and the face line art. Those should be separated. Now this part is optional. We can draw a mask to erase the face line art during rigging when the character faces a different direction. You can use an airbrush to make this mask and then turn off the visibility. As for the face shadow, at the moment it looks like a mess because it's out of the border. But don't worry, this is intentional since most art programs have the ability to use clipping mask. When I click on the layer and turn on clipping mask, the shadow will only be inside of the layer underneath. Now it's not messy. And during the rigging, using a clipping mask will make the shadow look pretty dynamic. Then proceed to change the shadow's blending mode into multiply. What multiply does is that it removes the white color from the layer that you set it to. This is what a lot of digital artists use to make easy shadow. And that's it for the main parts of the model. Here, a question that I had while learning, like, what about different clothes or expression? You can rig to change expression like blushing, crying, or draw extra hand that turn on and off later. If you want those parts in, you can draw those parts and then turn off the visibility for now. And now we're done. Save the file as Photoshop file, and it's time to head on to the next program. Or you can take a rest, get some snacks, and come back later. Live 2D Cubism. Overall, I'll be going in these orders: interface, mesh, tools, parameter for rigging, physics, then exporting. The timestamp will be in the comment if there are specific parts that you want to skip to. Open up Live 2D Cubism. Click New, and on this box, drag the Photoshop file in. It will ask what resolution for displaying the model image. This doesn't affect the actual model, so just click 1 out of 2 preview. Now you see this interface, but make sure that you're in the correct interface. Over here, there will be a drop-down that you can pick modeling, animation, form animation. Make sure you're in the modeling because this is where we'll begin rigging. Alright, now looking at the part window, this is where all layers that you had in the art program will be shown. The part window will be on the top left of the screen by default. However, if you can't find this window there, go to the window menu here and it will show all the windows that are available that you can turn on and off if you can't see it. Back to the model. The recognizable difference is that my shadow is not being clipped masked. We'll need to reassign all the clipping masks again. Go to where the shadow is in the parts. Once you click on the shadow part, the setting for this part will be shown in the inspector window. This is where you can edit the name and clipping ID of the part. Go to the pop-down of the clipping ID and find the body part that the shadow is going to be clipped to, in this case, the neck. Once selected, this shadow part will be clipped inside. Now repeat this process for the other shadows or part that have to be clipped to, like the face shadow and the blushes. Now before I move on, if you have edited or drawn in new parts in the art program and want to update it here, you can. Just drag the newly updated Photoshop file into Live 2D over here, and it will give you an option to create new file or choose the already existing file. Click that, and after that, the part that have the same name will be replaced, and the part with names that didn't exist before will be added in a new folder. So you don't need to be afraid if you want to make changes to your model. Another window I want to explain is the project window. It looks similar to the parts window, but it's there for a different purpose. You can see what Photoshop file is in the current Live 2D model. The useful thing about the project window is that if you accidentally delete a part in the parts window and you want it back, you can head to the project window to find it and add it back in by right-clicking and clicking Create Art Mesh. This part will then be re-added into the part window. Now that you have gotten the model in Live 2D, don't forget to save. Press Ctrl S on your keyboard or go to File, Save As. The file for editing in Live 2D is CMO3. file. So if you're tired and want to edit another day, this is what you want to open to edit it again. And with that, we move on to the mesh. To be able to make the part flexible, you have to give every part a mesh first. What is a mesh? A mesh are these spider web looking thing. When you move the dot, it will move the image that it's assigned to. This is what helps the make part looks a lot more flexible. Now to add a mesh, click on a part. Then using these two tools up here. The first one is called Manual Mesh Edit. You can use this to add mesh point one by one, however, it's very inefficient. So we're gonna be using the second tool more often, the Automatic Mesh Generator. Instead of creating a mesh point by point, the program will do it for you. When pressed, the toolbox will appear. You can choose from the press and drop down, Standard, Deformation Little, Deformation Heavy. The lesser the mesh is, the less fluidity there will be. So I suggest using Deformation Heavy for important parts like the face, the eye, the hair, the lips, and Standard for parts that won't move as often. Now make sure that every part you have in the file has a mesh by selecting all the parts and clicking on the Automatic Mesh Generator. Now, we want the face part and the face line art part to have the same exact mesh so that when we move one, the other moves the exact same way. If it have a different mesh, it will not sync with each other. So, create Automatic Mesh, then go to Manual Mesh Edit. Select all of the mesh, and on your keyboard, press Ctrl+C to copy all of it, then click the check button. Now we go to the face line art parts, click Manual Mesh Edit, and if there's already a mesh in there, select them all and delete it. Click by clicking the delete button, then press Ctrl+V to place what we just copied in. And after that, click the check button, and now these two parts have the exact same mesh. Do the same for the neck if you separated the line art and the skin. If you're done with adding mesh for the parts, we can move on to Edit Texture Atlas. This is what Texture Atlas look like. This is where we'll lay all the parts into a page for export. When press the Edit Texture Atlas button, it will ask name, size, and default layout. For the name, you can just leave it as Texture Atlas 1. For the size, it depends on how big your canvas size is. Once again, there's different pixel size for each one. Recommend that you make it square size. If you're using this test model, you can just use 2048 times 2048. For default layout, pick Do Not Place, and now we go OK. And this is a window that will appear. On the right here is the model image list. It is all the parts that you have in your model. Double click on the part to place it in. You can move it around in this texture atlas. What we want to do here is place the textures into this sheet without rescaling and without overlapping the parts. Now, if all the parts aren't enough to fit in a single page, you can add another page by clicking the Add Texture button up here. With the second page, you can place the remaining parts that couldn't fit in. And once you're done, press OK. As said on the bottom right, if you press T on your keyboard, you can swap between what the quality looked like before and after Texture Atlas. If nothing changed when you press the T button, that means you did a great job. But if it looks different and it looks weirdly wonky, then maybe you accidentally overlap some parts or descaled the parts to make it look a lot more blurry. Now, after you're done with Texture Atlas, we move on to the other tools you use to rig your model. Starting with the Warp Deformer. Select on any part and click on the Warp Deformer. This panel will pop up. Just click Create. Now there will be this green grid box. This is a deformer. If you move the point on this deformer, it will move the mesh below. We'll be using this tool a lot. Now, When you click on the deformer, the setting for the deformer will appear on the inspector. You can rename deformer here. Trust me, you won't regret naming things since there will be a lot of deformers. Another thing in the inspector is changing the number of division. So if you want to make there be more division, you can play around with these numbers and it will make you have more control points. To see every deformer that has been created, you can look at this deformer window on this bottom left. This is like the folder system for the deformers. It helps you see and rearrange what deformer is in each other. It's a very helpful window and you'll be using it a lot. The reason to use deformer to rig instead of controlling the mesh directly is because you can create a deformer on another deformer. It works quite like a folder. Like I can have a deformer for the eye and another deformer for the face turning, which make it to where the eye deformer, which is under the face deformer, will get deformed along as well. And by stacking things up like this, that's how we make our model become alive. Next is the rotation deformer and rotation deformer creation tool. Just like the warp deformer, it will control the mesh and be put in the deformer window. However, instead of moving the points, you rotate instead. The difference between rotation deformer and rotation deformer creation tool is that the first one will spawn the rotation deformer in the middle of your parts, while the second one lets you create the rotation deformer wherever you want. And that's the three deformer tools. Now we head to arrow, lasso, and brush tool, which is pretty self-explanatory. You use the arrow to select different tools. You use the lasso to select multiple things at once. And you use the brush selection to select things like a brush. And now, we go to Deform Path Edit. This allows you to make a part used to edit the mesh in a line easily. This is great for the lips, the eyelash, and the eyebrow. Now we move on to actually rigging the model. For that, knowing the parameter is very important. When you go to parameter window, you can see these default parameters given. These parameters are empty and you'll have to fill them up. Let's start with angle C. This is for rotating the head. So what we have to do is select all of the head and create a rotation deformer creation tools. Now drag the rotation deformer from the chin to the head. Now go to the arrow tool instead, click on angle C and press this 3 green dot button. They are the keyforms. The middle is looking straight, the left is for rotating to the left, and the right is for rotating to the right. So when we move the red dots around to the left, we can rotate the deformer to the left. And when we move the red dot to the right, we can rotate the deformer to the right. And now, when we move the red dot around the parameter, it will rotate the head around as it should. And this is how parameters work and what we're gonna be doing for the rest of it. To summarize again, select all parts and create a deformer. Click on the parameter. Add keyforms. Go to the keyform you want to edit. Move the deformer around. And there we go. That's how you rig every part of the model. Now, angle C is the easiest one. Let's move on to the harder ones, like angle XY. Angle X is for looking left and right, while angle Y is for looking up and down. Now, we want the model to be able to look towards the upper corner as well, like upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right. To do that, we have to combine angle X and Y by pressing this link button right here. When we press it, the parameter will now look like this graph. Now let's get to rigging by first selecting all the head parts and create a new deformer. Call it df angle xy underscore head. Then select the angle xy parameter and click this 3 green dot icon again. Go to the left in the parameter. Make sure you snap to it by right-clicking. Right-clicking is how you snap to these dots. Now, turn the face to the left. It will look pretty bad right now because we have a lot of adjusting to do. And after you're done turning it left, you'll want to turn it right. And now your face is turning. It doesn't look so good right now though, because we want to move individual facial features to create more dimension like the nose. So we can go to the nose and create another deformer. Call it df_angle_xy_nose. And then when you look to the left, the nose may protrude a bit more. And now you go to the right, it may protrude a bit more as well. So now it looks better. And do the same for all the other side as well. Looking to the top and looking to the bottom. Just adjust it around. This will take quite some time. And then after you're done with left, right, top, bottom, instead of working on the corners right away, we can have the program try to work on it first. Go to the center of the parameter, then in the menu, click Modeling, Parameter, Set the Size Corner, and OK. So, the software have now created the corners for you. When you move around the angle XY parameter, the model will face towards that direction. You can fix them manually if it looks bad though. And with a lot of adjustment and a lot of time, angle XY is kinda done. Now, remember the face mask? We can use that here to make the face line art disappear a little at a certain angle. Turn on the visibility of the mask. Second, select the face line art, and on clipping ID, make it clip to the face mask. Then we click this reverse mark button. Turn the opacity of the face mask to 0. We can create a deformer for the mask, and in angle XY, add the keyform and move the mask around. This isn't necessary, but I see most VTuber use this technique. You can check out the preview of the model by going to the menu, Modeling, Physics Settings. Ignore the weird setting on the left right now. Looking at the screen on the right, when you click and hold the screen, the model will look toward your cursor. This is where you can go to check whether your model is working or not. Moving on to the eye parameters. First, we'll only be doing the left eye. And then after we're done rigging the left eye, we'll then copy-paste the left eye to the right and flip it. So that will be less work to do. Looking at the EyeL Open, here you will see that the left is 0 and the right is 1. Previously, in angle X, Y, and Z, the parameter can go to the negative to indicate left or bottom, and positive to indicate right or up. For the eye, however, there's only close and open. Close being 0 and open being 1. Now, if you want a surprise eye, you have to increase the parameter to 1.3 so that the eye would widen more. To change that, you can right-click the parameter and edit. Change the maximum to 1.3. Starting with the eyelash, select the eyelash, and since it's a line instead of a deformer, we'll use the Deform Path Edit tool instead. Click along the eyelash to create control points. These control points will let you move the eyelash freely. Go to the arrow tool. On the box over here, type 1 so we make sure we're in the 1, and add keyform at this exact location. And instead of clicking the 3 dots in the parameter, click the 2 dots instead. So now 0 is eye closed, 1 is eye open normally, and 1.3 is eye being wide. And we just move it around at these locations. And now, we go to the upper eye skin. Create a deformer for the upper eye skin, and add the same keyform to the parameter. 0, 1, 1.3. And drag the deformer so that it covers the eyeballs when the eye is closed or open. Now, go to lower eye skin and do the same process. And after that, that's it for EyeL Open parameter. Next is EyeL Smile. Here we can make the blush more visible. Go to the blush part and turn it on if it's off. Now add two keyforms using the two green dot button here. On 0, we'll turn the opacity of the blush to 0. And on 1, we'll turn the opacity to 100. So that's how we make it seem as if the model is smiling. Next is eyeball XY. X is for looking left and right, Y is for looking up and down. Connect the X and Y together so that we can look at the corners as well. Select the pupil parts and create a new deformer. Click on the 3 green dots and start moving the pupil around. This is basically the same thing we did for face turns of angle XY. Timeline. And there we go. And then we do the eyebrows. Create a deformer for eyebrow Y for moving up and down. And another deformer for brow L form. -1 is sad, 0 is normal, and happy is 1. We can just delete brow angle and brow X because Vtube Studio doesn't really detect eyebrow moving left and right or brow angles. Also, you can make a deformer for the entire eye and move it around angle XY to see if different direction the eye looks good in or not. Okay, now that your left eye is nice and done, we're moving on to copy pasting it to the right. Select all of your right eye asset and just delete them because we don't need them. And then select all of your left eye, copy paste. Now after you're done copy pasting it, go to modeling, edit form, reflect. Click reflect horizontally, then click OK. Now we managed to create the right eye. Okay, we have to transfer the parameters from left to right as well. Starting with EyeL Open, click the number box and choose Change. Go to EyeL Open parameter. Now, when you move the EyeL Open parameter, it should be the right eye now. Also do for the same for eyebrows. Click brow LY, change to brow RY. And also brow L form, change to brow R form. Now, as for the eyeballs, it's now looking at the opposite direction. In eyeball X parameter box, click adjust instead. In value after change, put in 1, 0, -1, and click OK. Now the eye should look the same way. If it looks weird, you can adjust it around. If you edited the EyeL Open parameter to 1.3 for surprise eyes, don't forget to do the same for EyeL Open as well. And you can also make a deformer for the eye shines when it looks at different angles as well. Make sure to rename the folder into EyeRight instead. And we want to rename everything else in this folder from left to right as well. To change it easily, go to Edit, Search and Replace. On Condition, type L underscore or left. And now we have to select all of the copied left eye. To make sure that it is the copy part, on the left parent column, it should say that the parent is RI. Select all of it, and on the bottom here, before replacement as L underscore, and after replacement to R underscore. Then click Replaced. Now all of the left part that got copied will be named right, so that it won't be confusing. But now the eye should be completed. Now we move on to lip sync. If you manage to come this far, then the mouth isn't so different. Link the mouth form and mouth open together. The bottom middle, 0, 0, should be mouth closed. Up 1 should be mouth open normally. To the left, in negative, is sad, and to the right is happy. Now use the Deform Path Edit tool for the lip line and move it as you want. You don't have to make it exactly the same and can go freestyle with it. After you move the lip, then you move the upper lip skin to conceal the mouth inside. You can also use the Deform Path Edit for the mouth skin as well, by creating the path along the lips. And then time-lapse, it's gonna take some time to move things around, but I think now you get what to do. It's all the same process, just different parts. And ta-da! We did it! The mouth. And moving on to body XYZ. Body X is moving the body to left and right, and Y is moving body up and down, and C is if you tilt your body like the hips and the shoulder. And since we don't have the lower body here, we will just ignore body C. Now go to the Deformer window, collapse the Deformer tabs, and select every part. Now make one big deformer and call it deformer underscore body XY underscore body. Link the parameter together, create keyforms, and move the deformer just a bit left, right, up and down. Synthesize the corner, and now we're done with body X and Y. Next is the breathing parameter. This is a parameter that will play on automatically. 0 is normal, 1 is breathe-in. So select the body XY deformer and create another deformer on top. Create 2 keyforms, and on one just move the deformer up a little bit. And now when we check in the physics setting, we can see the character breathing automatically. And with that, you filled in all default given parameters. Don't forget to save. Extra segment. If your model has extra objects like different hand, a mic, or a pet that you want to be able to toggle on and off, you can make a toggle by creating a new parameter. Click on the plus button down here and name it whatever extra object that is, and make the minimum 0. All there is to do is select those extra parts, and at 0 make it 0 opacity, and at 1 make it 100 opacity. And that's it to create the toggle, which we can use to later turn it on and off in Vtube Studio. And there we go, the model will work. In fact, you don't even need to use this next step, but if you do, it will give your model some life to it. Physics. Physics is where the magic happens. It makes this turn into this. First, the hair is where there is most physics. Select the front hair and create a deformer. Name it something like DFP front hair. Our hair is really simple, so you can just use the default hair move front parameter. Negative 1 is sway left and 1 is sway right. To make it easy, after moving negative 1 parameter, go to Modeling, Motion Mirroring. Okay, and the program works on the right side of the parameters for you. We then continue to do the same for hair move side and hair move back. Go to physics setting, that's on the modeling physics setting. Now we don't ignore the setting on the left. Click the add ... button and name it hair. Input present as head input, physics model presence as hair short, then click OK. Now over here, click the output setting. Then click the button add underneath it. Search for the parameter that we just made for this part. Check it on, then click OK. Now you'll notice when you move the model left and right, there is now physics on your part. If you think it moved too much, then you can adjust the number in the pendulum setting down here. Tweak the number around and see what you like. Repeat this step for every part that you want to have physics in. Like this jacket strings doesn't have a default parameter, so we need to create a new one. Click on the plus button below the parameter and OK. And do the same thing where you sway it left and right and then add it into the physics settings. This time it's the body input. Now if you want the hair to flow more, we can create another deformer on top of the same hair part. Let's try this with the back hair. Then create a new parameter for another physics on the part. Move it a little on the tip of the hair. Then add this new parameter into the physics settings. Create another pendulum. Change the pendulum number of the new parameter to 2. And now you can see this hair part moves more than before. If your model has many long hairs, you can add as much pendulums as you want to give it more physics. And with this, we're pretty much done with the model and can move on to exporting. To export, just go to File, Export for Runtime, Export as MOC3 files. Make sure the Export Physics Setting file is checked on as well, then press OK. Choose the folder that you want to save to, create a new folder, name it, and save it there. This is what it should look like, containing the texture atlas and everything. And we're good! Vtube Studio. Now we move on to the third needed program, Vtube Studio. This is it, guys, we're getting to the finish line. On PC, download the software from Steam. When you open the software, it will be blank. Double-click on the screen so that you can open the menu. First button is for choosing the model. Click on the button and a character selection will appear on the bottom. The software already has a default model for you to test out. If you click on any of them, it will show that model up. To put in your own model, click Import your own model and Open folder. Now in the folders as open, copy-paste the stuff that we exported from Live 2D wherever you saved it. Now go back to the software and click Unload Model to refresh. Clicking the model button again and scrolling through, there should be a new model, and choosing it, our model will appear. There will be a pop-up to choose auto setup. Okay, now your model is in the software. If it's not moving, that would be because you have not connected a webcam or your iPhone yet. If you're using a webcam, first connect your webcam, then click on the setting here. On the upper left, choose the webcam button. Then on the right, choose the blue Choose Camera button. Choose your camera and just click OK to whatever pops up. After that's done, click the blue Camera On button. It will calibrate your face. Close the calibrate. Now you have a working Vtube model. And if you're connecting through an iPhone instead, first download Vtube Studio on your iPhone. Go to Setting and head down. You'll see Connect through Wi-Fi or Connect through wires. This is your preference. I pick Wi-Fi so that I can still charge my phone while streaming. Have your computer connect to the same Wi-Fi as your iPhone and it will automatically detect. Turn the button on and off if it doesn't work. Now when you move or make facial expression while looking at your phone, the software on your PC will also detect that and follow along. Now that you connected it, it worked! There's still a little more things like changing the icon. To change the icon, you'll have to put an image into the same folder that contains your Vtube file. Then back on Vtube Studio, go to Settings and on top, click on it. Click on the image you put in the folder. Now the icon will be updated. Moving on to expression. This is how you can add a trigger if you have an extra object in your model. If you don't, then you can ignore this part. On the setting menu, you'll see this clapboard button. Clicking on it will lead to the expression editor. Click on the blue button called Expression Editor, then click Create New Expression. I have a mic on and off parameter for my own model, so I'll name it mic. Now then I scrolled all the way down where that parameter is. When we turned on the switch, it lets us adjust what that parameter will be stuck as. So I turned the slider all the way up and click Save. Now going back, we have to add the hotkey, so to tell the software how to trigger this expression. Click on the plus button and a new hotkey panel will appear. Name it. Then click on the blue hotkey action button. select Set and Unset Expression, and then on the blue button under Expression, select your expression. Key combination is if you choose a button on your keyboard, it will trigger the expression on and off. Then below is a screen button hotkey, which is what we'll be using. Click on the slot you want, then make sure the switch on top of the hotkey setting for Use Screen Button Hotkeys is turned on. And now the screen there will be a button that you can click to trigger this expression on and off. Finally, how to get transparent background. First, on the menu, click the background button. On the list of backgrounds, scroll down until you see color picker. Select it. As you can see, under the color picker, there is a switch to turn on transparent in capture. What this does, if you turn it on, when you connect this to OBS or other recording software, you won't see the background, only the model. Which moves us over to the next and the last software, OBS. Open the software, there will be this window, Scenes. If you can't see this window, on the menu above, Docs is where all the window is kept at. First, add a scene by clicking on the plus button. Name it whatever you want it to be. I'll name it VTube scene. Now in the next window called Sources, click the plus button and select Game Capture. Click on Create New and name it VTube Source. Now in the property here, change the mode to Capture Specific Window. Then in the window, select Vtube Studio. Under the checkbox, turn on Allow Transparency and turn off Capture Cursor. And there we go, the model should be shown in OBS. If you want to add a display behind the model, click the plus button again and select Display Capture. And now it will appear in the scene. You can click and drag the source up and down to arrange what appears on top and bottom. Now if you want to crop out the buttons on the side, you can right-click VTube source and select Filter. Click plus button and select Crop and Pad. Now on the right, you can enter how much pixel you want to crop out to look nice and clean. And voila, it works! Now you can stream! Test it out just by recording to yourself first. Hit that record button and move around. Once you're done, stop recording and you can check where the file your recorded file is in the setting. Go to Output and you'll see where the location is linked to. You can change the location to where you want it to be as well. And then you're actually done! That was a bunch of information that I wouldn't blame you for taking a break or even giving up. Now with this hard-earned knowledge, what else can Live 2D use for? It can be used for animated movies. You can go farther with the animation feature and export as video instead. Make it like looping illustration for waiting screens or animating stickers and stuff. As for how to use the animation, here's a quick tutorial. By going back to Live 2D Cubism in Files, New Animation, SDK Unity is what we'll use for Vtube Studio, and just drag and drop the model you have into this window over here. And then drag it all the way down here. And now the model will be shown on the screen and all the parameters gonna be here. And if you know how to edit videos, it's the same thing, where you got the timeline and then you can adjust the parameter and then save the animation and export the file by going File, Export Image Video, Video. And there we go, you got video now. Otherwise, if you want to export the animation to use in Vtube Studio, you can click File, Export for Runtime, Export Motion File. Drag it into your Vtube Model folder. And just like the expression, just add in the animation instead. click on the plus button, hotkey action, go to play animation, select animation, and then choose the one that we just pasted in. Assign hotkey, and there we go. Thank you so much for watching the video. I've been planning to create this video for a very long time, but it takes some time to learn the software and make sure I didn't miss anything important myself since there are a lot to cover. If you wanna commission me from drawing characters to rigging, I have a Fiverr page, or you can just DM me on Instagram, Discord, X, etc. I hope the video wasn't too complicated. If there's any question, you can ask in the comments below. I stream from time to time on YouTube and Twitch, so if you come to hang out, I'll be very happy. And thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye bye!